Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Recovery Classroom. My name is Drew. I'm an alcoholic, and today I'm a recovering alcoholic, and I could not be any more grateful. I want to talk today about conflict in recovery. Now, before I go too far, I want to set the stage. When I came back into the recovery rooms and I diligently began working a 12-step program, no one ever walked up to me and said, "Drew, your life's going to be smooth sailing from here on out. You're going to have a perfect life." No one ever said those things to me. No one ever walked up and handed me a brochure that said, all of my problems are going to magically disappear. Never happened. Matter of fact, the exact opposite happened. I had people come up and tell me, "Hey, look, you're not going to have a perfect life." I had people coming up telling me, "Hey, look, your problems are probably going to get worse before they get better." And I thank God those folks set that expectation for me early on. I truly do. But at the end of the day, I was coming into those rooms to learn how to get and stay sober. I was coming into those rooms to learn how to cope with the problems that I thought were causing me to drink in the first place. Cope is the key word. Now, let's talk about conflict. Most of the conflicts that we have in our lives all revolve around other people. Sure, we may have the occasional conflict with maybe a task that we're trying to perform, or maybe a certain situation that we're in where there's a whole bunch of other people, things outside of our control. I get that. But the conflicts that seem to generate and stimulate the greatest emotional responses all revolve around other people, through disagreements, through behaviors. It all comes down to people. Now, let's think about this. Human beings are the most emotionally driven species on this planet, period. When you go to a movie theater, you sit down and watch a movie, or maybe a play. You sit down watching a movie, and the hero saves the day, or the guy gets the girl. It's generating an emotional response. You're happy. You're satisfied. You felt like your $12.50 for the movie ticket was justified, right? God, it's that high. It's triggering an emotional response. A good emotional response. What happens if the guy doesn't get the girl? What happens if the hero dies and the car blows up and the world ends? We don't get up and throw our soda at the screen or throw popcorn at the person in front of us and get up and walk out and kick the trash can. The emotional response, well, hell, that's normal. That's what happens in real life. Whether we're watching it on a movie theater, watching what somebody does on a movie screen, or listen to what they say on a movie screen, versus watching what somebody does in real life or says in real life, the emotional response that's perfectly normal. It's what we do as a result of those emotional response. It's how we respond, our actions, as a result of those emotional responses. That's when things become problematic. If I see somebody that I don't necessarily care for, okay, I'm probably just going to avoid them. Well, why? Why would I put myself into that? Conflicts are going to happen. And again, it's not necessarily the emotional response that we feel whenever we're in the midst of that conflict. It's what we do, our actions that we take to respond to that emotion that we're feeling. That's when things can get us into some trouble. At the end of the day, we are dealing with other human beings. And I do remember early on, and I shared this not too long ago, I do remember walking into the rooms early in my sobriety, thinking that everybody loved each other, that everybody got along, that everybody agreed on everything. Somebody would be sharing, and I'd look around the room, and everybody's sitting there going, yep. I remember thinking, it's like, oh, shit, I guess I got to start shaking my head too. Think about it from this perspective. I'm walking into a room full of drunks and drug addicts. Did I really have that expectation in my mind that we're all going to agree on everything? No. And so I was shocked whenever I first ran across my first disagreement with someone inside of the rooms. And I've seen this more often than not. I can disagree with people on the outside of the recovery rooms on a day-by-day basis. It doesn't bother me a bit. I don't lose sleep on it. Matter of fact, I encourage people to have different opinions and different perspectives. It helps me grow as a person. I don't have any problem at all disagreeing with somebody, saying, oh, okay, that's your opinion. I don't necessarily agree with it, but I respect it. Okay, move on. But it was a shock for me whenever I came into the rooms and all of a sudden people disagreed. People said, oh no, you have to do it this way. That was it. But that did not mean that I had to go off and start drinking again. And it didn't mean I had to stop participating in my recovery rooms. It didn't mean that I had to stop working on bettering myself. Not at all. Matter of fact, I do remember a situation where a lady told me, she said, there was a situation going on. She said, don't let this run you out of this room. I said, oh, I'm not. I'm going to go start my own room. So I want to encourage you today. When things get difficult, when you have those conflicts arise in your life, the feelings that are and emotions that are being generated that you're feeling, those are perfectly normal. And you know what? Perfectly valid. We can scientifically explain how emotions are created through the release of enzymes and hormones and all that. Emotions are perfectly normal. It's what we do in response to those emotions that we have to be careful about, that we have to be ever so watchful, because it can be the smallest thing in the world, and that can start a slippery slope and ultimately lead us back to the life that we're trying to get so far away from now. At the end of the day, it's our actions that we take as a result of the emotions. At the end of the day, we're learning how to cope with these conflicts that generate these emotional responses. And that, for me, is to this day, is why I still keep going back into the rooms of recovery, because I'm never going to know it all. I'm never going to have enough in my arsenal, in my toolkit, if you will, to cope with every single thing. So I'm going to be forever learning. And I want to encourage you today, if you've gone into rooms and you've heard things that people said that you disagreed with, don't let that run you out. If you're on your path to sobriety and you have a disagreement with somebody at work, and the next thing you know, this conflict, it just escalates, don't let that derail you. Again, you don't want to jeopardize, based upon an emotional response, you don't want to jeopardize everything you've been working for. Because everything you've been working for, well, hell, that's why you've been working for it in the first place, right? That being said, I'll let you guys go. Thank you guys for letting me come in and share 5 to 10 minutes of your day with you. You guys absolutely keep me sober, and I could not be any more appreciative. If you're local to the Huntington, West Virginia area, I encourage you to come on down tomorrow night at 7 o'clock, 5747 East Pea Ridge Road. Hang out with us tomorrow night at our Crosstalk Friday meeting. Always a lot of fun, always a great time, and a lot of great conversation. We had a really good meeting Tuesday night. So encourage you tomorrow night at 5747 East Pea Ridge Road in Huntington at Pea Ridge United Methodist Church for our Crosstalk Friday. Tomorrow night at 7 o'clock. We'll see you there. Remember, guys, you can't get drunk if you don't take that first drink.